Hey, Big Brother fans, I've got a live feeds update for you. Some new info about Vince getting dumped by his girlfriend and who is likely evicted tonight in eviction 1 and then in eviction 2, because we do have a double eviction night. It's Belinda. We're going to dive headfirst into the mess in the BB27 house, but hey, click subscribe if you're not following us. All right. First, let's talk about some live feeds actions on both sides of HOH Vince's triangle with his would-be sister wives final three. Last night, Lauren told Vince that Kelley said she doesn't have the votes to stay and she has to win the BB Blockbuster. And Vince said, no, Kelley doesn't know the votes that I've gotten for you. Votes he thinks he's gotten. And then Lauren told Vince that Morgan is playing the best game in the house. She won her POVs. She's taken over Vince's HOH. And then he did admit he really can't sit next to Morgan at the end, but he needs somebody else to take the shot at her. And guess what? Lauren's willing to do it. Later, Vince told Morgan that if she helps to evict Lauren, it's officially not his HOH. And Morgan told Vince that Lauren has got the best game in the house and he can't beat her in the end. And I mean, I think there's truth to both. I don't think necessarily Vince could beat either of the girls in the end. We'll see. But last night, Morgan made it clear that she was torn on keeping Lauren. And then before bed, she seemed to be set on definitely not keeping Lauren. So Ashley let Vince know if it comes to a tie and he breaks that tie to keep Lauren, he is going to lose Morgan. Later, Vince was asking Morgan where her head's at, and that's when it came out. Definitely, she feels like Lauren needs to go and Keanu needs to stay. That seems to be where Morgan's head is still at on Thursday, heading into eviction. Let's talk about the cheat mance drama, though, and Kelsey dropping Vince, and then more about votes and eviction tonight. First of all, I don't think I've ever seen a reaction to a zing from Zingbot like Morgan gave. I died. Just that Vince's girlfriend thing, turning her back on Zingbot and Morgan just loudly murdering that pizza with the pizza cutter was so funny. Her body language screamed guilt and embarrassment, you know, like when the other day Morgan walked into the HOH room and she was kind of cuddly with Vince and kind of whispery. And then she saw Keanu and Kelley and was like, what? And then leaped apart. That physical reaction tells you so much about the blurring of the lines. So here's the scoop on Kelsey dumping him. There's a newer update, but first I want to remind you that we reported here last month, despite him insisting he did, no, Vince never came into this game with a hall pass from Kelsey. Vince said he wanted everybody to know that Kelsey would sign off everything that he's been saying and doing. And this was a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3. Vince said Kelsey told him to do whatever it takes to effing win this money. He said a little flirting is fine, but Vince said he won't hook up or cross any boundaries, not that it's an option, which was kind of an interesting thing to tack on. And then Kelsey posted on Instagram saying that she never gave him an okay to flirt as a strategy, and said, we talked extensively about boundaries before he left. And the vibe with her comments is, yeah, he's crossing those boundaries. So, you know, Vince may be heading home unemployed and single. Maybe if he wins, though, Kelsey would forgive him. There's more, though, because she said that Vince's behavior has ramped up. And, you know, he and Morgan have been connected at the hip, like literally touching in some way or another, like 20 hours a day. And then this source has come out who is allegedly close to Kelsey and Vince and said that she is extremely hurt. They said Kelsey is stunned that Vince thinks what he's doing in there is acceptable. The source said they assume that Kelsey and Vince no longer have a relationship, but they said that doesn't necessarily mean Kelsey wouldn't reconsider once he's back. I mean, Vince could sell ice cubes to penguins. condoms to eunuchs, a vegetarian cookbook to a cannibal. I don't know why he's unemployed when he should be in sales. Anyway, the source also alleges that based off how Kelsey feels seeing what he's doing in BB27, it'll take a lot of work for Vince to get her forgiveness. But Vince has said in the past that Kelsey is the least jealous person on the planet, that jealousy literally does not exist for her. And Morgan said, thank God. But Vince has been kissing Morgan's fingers in broad daylight and whispering, I love you, late at night. If you listen to those videos on the night vision settings. A couple of weeks ago, Kelsey unfollowed Vince on his Insta, which she had been running. And she also blocked him from her accounts reportedly across all her socials. Since then, there's been no new activity on Vince's Insta, no posts. So kind of seems like Kelsey is DONE. One last thing before eviction prediction. I just want to talk about a couple of radical changes of opinion on two house guests. I think there's two huge player evolutions in BB27 in terms of likability. One positive, one negative. For instance, Keanu really rubbed me the wrong way early on because he didn't seem to be listening to women, Rachel in particular, but just all women. But, you know, I won't go into all the details, but Keanu's grown on me like a fungus, and I am a stan now. One person I think evolved into just, is Ava. At first, I was like, oh, she's so quirky and she's so fun. And now it's just trash mouth and meanness and thirst trapping, and she feels less quirky, more jerky. Timu Blossom is just not likable anymore. And if she gets AFP, every casual that voted for her deserves a slap, in my opinion. At least with Kelley, she's terrible and chaotic, but kind of consistent. Vince has given me the ick since day one. You know, Lauren has admitted that she's faking nice. Morgan's a plotter, as we know, and Ashley's fun, but I think secretly savvy. Let's talk about who's evicted tonight. So right now, in 2 of 3 scenarios, Vince is probably going to have to break a tie. And if it's Keanu versus Kelley, he'll probably break the tie in Keanu's favor because he does know that Ava, Lauren, and Kelley are a voting block. And Vince told Lauren that Kelley is a problem because she keeps pitching Keanu. So that's like the one scenario that I think Vince is like, okay, I can do this. Kind of funny, Lauren told Vince that he should evict Keanu because it's best for Lauren's game. But then Morgan said keeping Keanu is best for her game. And I think Vince is about to have a really bad night across the board, really bad. I would be stunned if he doesn't wind up on the block, maybe in jury. Lauren's also been lying and saying she doesn't talk game with Kelley and Ava, kind of trying to get him off of targeting Kelley. Vince knows better, though. Ashley told him Ava, Lauren, and Kelley are way too close and that Lauren needs to go this week. Ashley encouraged him to break the tie in favor of Keanu if he's next to Lauren. And Ashley was just doing the math for Vince, saying with Kelley, Lauren, and Ava in the game, one of them wins HOH, the other 2 are safe. They vote together. The HOH breaks the tie, and they control everything from the DE and moving forward for a while. Also, Vince heard from Keanu that if Morgan doesn't vote to evict Lauren this week, that Lauren's going to turn around and be the one to send Morgan out. And it's interesting that Keanu said that, I think trying to get him to vote to evict Lauren, but Vince thinks that is a good game move for him because then Lauren will go after Morgan. So I just don't see Vince breaking that tie to send Lauren out. We'll see. But at the same time, I think if Lauren won HOH in the double or even survived one more, she would put Vince and Morgan on the block side by side and Keanu or Ashley as a backdoor option. Big Brother warned the house guests that the double was coming, but they seem very more locked in on talking about eviction 1 and everything else is just going to be chaos. If Keanu wins Blockbuster, he'll vote with Morgan and Ashley and Lauren is gone. If Kelley wins Blockbuster, she'll vote with Ava and it goes to a tie on Keanu versus Lauren. he's going to tick off one of his sister wives with that vote. By the way, I watched a little bit of an interview with Keanu's girlfriend, Brittany, who seems very nice. And she said Keanu is very much in the game like he is at home, like so honest that it makes people uncomfortable. He does tell lies in the game. I mean, we've seen that. It's also kind of wild how he'll stick to a lie and will never admit that he did lie, like that hinky vote from way back. She did say he's funnier at home, and we're not seeing the full impact of how funny he can be. So for the first eviction, the BB Blockbuster is still in play, and then the double should be down to 2 nominees. And I'm guessing that the Blockbuster is probably going to be mental, just given how physical last week's was. But at the time I'm making this video, the preview of the comp isn't out. So just bear that in mind. Heading into eviction number 2 tonight, if Lauren stays and wins HOH, I can see Morgan and Vince on the block. If Morgan wins HOH and Lauren's still in the house, she will be on the block next to Ava or Kelley, depending on who stays. If Keanu wins HOH in the double, he wants to put Morgan and Lauren up if Lauren survives eviction 1. Keanu wants Vince all to himself. So I could see him doing Morgan and Ava if Lauren is evicted in the first vote. If Ava wins the double HOH, she wants to put Morgan and Ashley up. If Ashley wins that HOH, she may also actually nominate Vince and Morgan as well. Ashley and Keanu talked a lot about Morgan being unbeatable in the end, and they both know that that twosome needs broken up. However, Ashley just told Kelley up front that she wants Kelley evicted because Ashley's heard the things that Kelley has been saying about her behind her back. So I think especially the double is going to be must-see TV tonight. I can't wait to see Vince shoved in a corner having to break a tie. The fight for the second HOH should be epic. I could see Vince or Morgan leaving in eviction 2, but of course, everything hinges on eviction 1. Come back soon for the latest comp wins and live feeds update.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.